Meanwhile, JoyNews' investigations have uncovered a resurgence of hoarding and sale of premix fuel in parts of the central and western regions. Vice President Dr. Mamadou Bawumia last year promised to digitize the distribution of the government subsidized premix to rid the supply chain of middlemen who mostly hoard the product and sell at exorbitant prices to fishermen. A year after the broadcast of our hotline documentary, Premix Cartel, investigative journalist Kwete Nate returns to the London beaches and discovers how the middlemen are hijacking a product meant for poor fishermen.
At the Elmina London beach are fishermen chatting among themselves. As I get close, I eavesdrop on their conversation, which was centered around poor supply of premix fuel at the coast. Meshach Basil is a fisherman here. Irregular supply of premix fuel upset him.
The whole month in a car one about or rush them no win ye beer all the this year because we need the month you are be. On baby my chair be next month and the bed be 2 weeks and 3 weeks and about Yaman so dos.
According to him, the situation has been compounded by middlemen who are hoarding and selling the fuel at higher prices. It has become a lucrative trade for individuals who are not even fishermen.
The Maznos no do ampo yama and what no this year. You also that whole business. Won't there abandon son as no omba and sad number it was that whole business into omba car one about better a month and the whole month in a car one about or rush.
He's not the only fisherman bothered by premix fuel hoarding in the enclave. Kwesi is also concerned about how the premix cartels have monopolized the distribution of the fuel. He says his business is on the verge of collapse because of the high cost of fuel. Nana Brokwasari tells JoyNews,
with the issue of this middleman, one of the things that we've done particularly very well this world is to make sure that there is adequate supply of premix fuel. We realize that some of the problems with this middleman had to do with scarcity. We realize that if the product is in abundance, it can also curb some of these middlemen. And across the country, you realize if you go to most of the landing beaches, premix fuel is in abundance. So it has rendered the work of this middleman to nothing. There's nothing to hoard now because the product is in abundance.
A year ago, the JoyNews investigative team was here at the Elmina Landing Beach to find out about the Premix Cartel. We're back to check what the situation is. Ebo has pitched camp at the same structure I caught him on camera selling premix at exorbitant prices to fisher folk. At 7 cedis 50 pesos a gallon, 7 gallons of premix should cost a little over 50 cedis. But after interrogating the investigative team about the authenticity of our claims to do business with him, Ebo's aide sells the 7 gallons of premix fuel to us at 100 cedis. At the Kwesi Bay in Elmina, many boats have lined up. Tola and other middlemen were seen by JoyNews investigators busily selling several barrels of premix illegally. He sells a gallon at 10 cedis instead of the 7 cedis 50 pesos approved by government. I head to the western region. I'm at the Albert Bosumchi Sam Fishing Harbour. Someone is challenging one of the people here whether he is indeed a fisherman. He wants to know why this man wants to buy premix fuel. Many of them are not fishermen, but are busily buying the fuel in barrels. I call him Sergio. He's one of the middlemen who buy the subsidized fuel, hoard, and then sell to the desperate fishermen. He sells the yellow gallon at 100 cedis. 15 minutes drive from the harbour, I meet Eko at Mimpiasem. He's adulterating the government premix fuel with a substance. He sells a gallon of premix at 12 cedis.
Okay. My 1 million.
I asked him why he was mixing the fuel with another colour. The story is different here in Accra, where the government has commenced digitizing the distribution of premix as promised by Vice President Dr. Mamadou Bawumia. Without a card identifying you as a fisherman, you can't buy premix fuel here. Emmanuel Udate is a fisherman. He says the new system is a departure from the past, where they struggled to acquire the fuel. Administrator for the National Premix Fuel Secretariat, Nana Brokwa-Sari, tells JoyNews government has approved the digitization process. He hints government will digitize the distribution of premix fuel at all landing beaches.
On the 18th of September, Cabinet finally approved a memo that we tabled before Cabinet for the approval of this automation system. And as I speak to you now, we have the letter from Cabinet. It means that government is in full support of this system. So what we need to now do is to start the procurement process, try to talk to all stakeholders, bring all stakeholders on board, and then roll it out nationally.
The fishermen here in Accra may be happy because of the introduction of this innovation, but the same cannot be said of their colleagues in the western and central regions. The criminal acts are still ongoing, and selfish middlemen continue to enjoy. This is Kwete Nate's report for JoyNews.